Where we're at really is in the country. We're surrounded by nothing but cornfields and hay fields.
We have 3 kids, Caleb, who's 12, Colin is 10, and Mia is 9 years old.
They can run around and see things that you don't see in the city. Watch turkeys run around and deer. Neat. It's just neat. At work, I'm looking at my phone, reading the Twitter feeds from all the local weathermen, and they're listing off different warnings for different counties. The later it got in the day, more and more warnings were coming out, and I was just kind of following along with them, seeing where they started down in Alabama, and they come up to Tennessee, and they were coming into Kentucky.
It's one of those mom feelings, and it's hard to describe. You couldn't tell anyone unless they had a child. I had to go pick up my kids from school. They always ride the bus to and from, and this time it was different. There was a different kind of calling that I had to get my babies. Daryl walks in and turns on the news channel to see the weather. And they actually said 16 minutes and severe weather will hit Henryville.
I went out the front door, went around the corner of the house, and when I looked up, there was a funnel cloud. I run into the house, and I went out to the back window, and she come out, and, what are you looking at?
I walked over there beside him, and the tornado, which was an F4, was going across the horizon. Daryl said to me, we should just get some damage. Shouldn't get that close. As soon as he said that, it turned. And within seconds, it was in our backyard. The feeling of your kid's hands slipping from yours is the worst thing I could describe to anyone. There's nothing to grab, nothing to stop you, nothing to brace you. The tornado threw our house about 400 yards from where our foundation was.
Next thing I know, the loudest crashing noise I could possibly describe to you.
We landed in our neighbor's field, about 50 feet from his pond. There was this bright light from where the house had just opened up. There wasn't walls left, there wasn't furniture left. We were laying in toothpicks. I was laying there not able to move from shoulders down. There was a feeling on my chest of not being able to breathe. There wasn't a discussion about it. There wasn't any normal marital argument. It was, you have to get the kids to safety. You have to get them out of here.
It took all I had in me to stand up. But I stood up, told the kids, we gotta go up to the neighbors. That was the only option, the only place I could go. And it's probably 600 or 700 feet uphill in the wet grass to get there. The only injuries I knew I had at the time was my jaw. The teeth were messed up, and I couldn't breathe at all. So I knew a lung was punctured.
And he said, I will come back. All the kids said goodbye. They knew they had to go. And he left and took them up.
When I turned around and I saw another tornado, it was forming the funnel, it was rotating, it wasn't on the ground. It was 80 feet or maybe 100 feet off the ground, but it was bad looking. Something hit me in the back of the head like a hammer. And I'm looking around trying to figure out what just hit me. And I can't register yet. There's softball-sized hail started to fall. And as the neighbor had come in, he couldn't hardly recognize me. He said, "Daryl?" I said, "Yeah." And it's at that point where finally I started to feel everything, all my injuries, and your mind started kind of telling you what had just happened to you.
It was just a few moments after the hail had stopped, and I heard voices. There was about 6 people that had come down the hill that day to help get me out. It was a very long trip to me, but I had one of the neighbors sitting beside me. Her name is Karen, and the whole time she was holding my hand, telling me that Daryl and the kids were fine.
Every time they took an x-ray, they found more broken bones. I had broken sternum, all 14 ribs connecting to the sternum, my collarbone, shoulder blade, my jaw on both sides of my face.
I have a shattered pelvis, a broken back that has separated from my pelvic bone. I have a punctured lung, 3 broken ribs, and a broken toe. Caleb broke 2 vertebrae. He had to wear what we call a turtle shell on the front and the back for 2 months. Mia, our youngest, she had a lacerated liver. Colin, not a bruise or a scratch. He's perfect. I'm currently walking with a cane. I have improved tremendously.
Trish's intuition and thought about picking up the kids from school turned out to be a wonderful one. The bus driver just barely made it back to the school. He was running back for shelter, and it picked that bus up and threw it across the parking lot. It knocked the body off the frame and it's totaled. As it went probably 300 or 400 yards over into my neighbor's field, it clipped one of their trees, pretty high up on the tree. So I don't know how high it went. Could have been 30 feet in the air. I survived because we were surrounded by guardian angels that day that protected us from hail and from winds and debris.
We know that we had some extra support and help that day. We survived because God was there with us.